I think perhaps being naive was really good. Perhaps if I'd known what I was in for, I guarantee you, I would have thought, no, I can't do this, and that. So this is not for me. But yes, so decided, yes, let's look into running a business. And I mean, in the back of my mind, I was like, well, it doesn't matter if it doesn't work out. Like, all I can do is just give it a try.
Hello and welcome to the Kelly Limber podcast. I'm your host, business mentor, personal brand and style expert who is on a personal mission to inspire a minimum of 5 people a day to take action and do something different. Just show up as the best person that you aspire to be. It's the new year, there's new guests, and I'm so excited. I loved all your messages over the festivities to say that you've been inspired by something that you've heard on the podcast. Keep them coming. Just drop me a DM on Instagram. It really does make my day and the guest day knowing that they have had an impact. So thank you for being one of my 5 a day in advance. If you haven't already, please drop a review on Apple Podcasts and come and say hi on Instagram. Love hearing from you. So good to meet you all. Love to know what you've learned. Love to know what you're going to implement. That's the best thing. Today's guest is actually a previous client of mine who's doing incredible things in the UAE, saving the planet one pair of pants at a time. Natalie Hobbs is originally from Australia and she's made Dubai her home with her husband and 2 girls. She's the owner of Modibodi here in the UAE, the franchise, which is period-proof underwear. And she has successfully helped more than 5,000 women significantly reduce their use of single disposable products. And at the same time, empowering girls and women across the Middle East that no longer do you need to miss out on activities such as swimming, running, sport, anything when you've got your period. And we're going to talk about this in so much more detail because, it's not just about periods. Women can also continue to exercise with confidence, even if they've got light bladder leaks or mild incontinence. And then you don't have to rely on sort of uncomfortable, awkward pads and panty liners. So I think you're going to really enjoy this episode. And if you haven't tried period-proof underwear, then I really think after you've listened to this episode, you're going to change your mind. I love them. I'm a convert. They've just introduced actually thong period-proof underwear, which I prefer much more underneath my fitness wear. So enjoy and let us know your thoughts. Welcome to the show, Natalie. It's so good to have you. We've been talking about doing this podcast for a little while now, and I'm so glad it's finally come together.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It is a real honor. You interview so many amazing women, so it's wonderful to be on the show. Thank you.
And you are one of them doing great things in Dubai, and not even just Dubai, I would say in the GCC. And I'll probably do a disservice about what you're actually up to. So maybe you can give everyone who's listening a little bit of a backstory as to, who you are and what are you doing and, how it's making an impact on the world, shall we say.
Oh, thank you. Sure. So my husband and I moved here 5 years ago from Australia with our 2 girls who were 4 and 2 at the time. After taking a little while to settle into Dubai, I kind of hated it at first.
Is that a great thing when you first come to Dubai? Some people come here and they just fall in love with it. Others are like, why did I have to come here?
Yes. The only reason I'm not going home because I'll be humiliated to have come home so quickly.
You're not alone. I'm sure there's loads of people like that.
But no, so after being here for a little while and settling in, I wanted to do some sort of work. I had worked at home full-time prior to becoming a mum, part-time once we had the girls. But for me, I didn't want to take on a full-time job here because, just because of the hours, wanted to be with the girls whilst they were young. Part-time work was pretty much non-existent at the time. And so then I started to...
that great at the moment. I know there's more of it, but it's still... there's so many mums that want to have that bit of a balance, but
and there's no reason why you can't job share and then have the best of both worlds. You'll have 2 candidates, 2 employees that can get along, that can both do the job and give and take. But no, but it's all worked out wonderfully because then I thought, well, with a bit of encouragement from my husband, why not start a business, which was completely out of my comfort zone, had never done anything like that before. It had never crossed my mind.
And
I
in a
wasn't
strange
one.
country as well. It's
Yes,
not like you were
yes.
back home with your support network.
No. So, and yeah, so then, and I think perhaps being naive was really good. Perhaps if I'd known what I was in for, I would have, I guarantee you, I would have thought, no, I can't do this, and that. So this is not for me. But yes, so decided, yes, let's look into running a business. And I mean, in the back of my mind, I was like, well, it doesn't matter if it doesn't work out. Like, all I can do is just give it a try. And then late one night, I was browsing Facebook and saw an ad for period-proof underwear. And I had never heard of period-proof underwear before. And you had to really dig into it just to see, was it really underwear that you could wear when you have your period and not use anything else? And it was. And then you're obviously thinking about all the reasons why period-proof underwear would be so fantastic for women and the planet. Then I thought, okay, that's what I want to do. I want to bring period-proof underwear to the UAE.
Amazing. So basically you got bought by a Facebook ad, was it?
Yes. Can you believe it? So something good does come out of like being
Facebook advertising. Absolutely. Period-proof underwear. So until I met you, I also hadn't heard about it. Now, this has been a couple of years. How long have you been in? When did you start? How long have you been in business for now?
Just over 3 years.
Awesome. So you have this idea. Well, you see this concept, because when you say you thought you'd go into business, it's not like, oh, I see this gap missing in the market. It's just like, okay, what business shall I set up?
Yeah. Yes. I wanted to do something and had not, I've had all sorts of ideas. I think one of my first ideas was having like a fancy dress, costume shop for all the children, because at the time there were always so many dress up days and people were always complaining how expensive the costumes were here. So I looked into something like that. Maybe like a service provider, but then I thought, okay, visa staff, that's probably a little bit too much to bite off for my first business.
Awesome. So we see this idea. And was this the brand that you ended up going with? Was that the actually?
No, it wasn't. No,
okay.
no. But when I started researching the product category, Modibodi kept coming at number one. And then when I looked into Modibodi and saw that it was Australian, it was like, okay, that's it. That's what I'm doing. I'm bringing Modibodi here to the UAE.
And it was nearly like that was what do they call it? Like, the confirmation that, you're from Australia, it's there's the connection back and forward. So, and were they franchising? Is it franchising? Is it distribution?
So I'm a distributor, yes. And so I just, found the email on the website, sent off an email saying, I want to sell Modibodi here in the UAE. And, then they replied wanting a business plan, which I did. And then, Christy, the founder, replied, saying, really impressed with the business plan, and, sent me a contract and off we went.
Amazing. So that was 3 years ago. So did you have, so you had to do then do you have to do a big outlay to buy it in the hope that?
No, fortunately not. I just started off small. I put in my order and, it was really small quantities at the time.
How many pants did you buy?
Well, I actually brought them home in like 2 big suitcases from Australia. So
anyone start something like that, why not, to test the market?
Yeah.
So but how many did you come back with? What was that, 50?
Oh, it would have been like 200.
200 pants.
Yes. So just by coincidence, we were going to be in Australia.
Work, I'm going to be wearing 200 pants.
Yeah,
for the rest of my life.
Exactly. Yes. So so I just came over with a couple of suitcases full of underwear. The visa wasn't a huge expense. I think I was looking at about 10 grand for the year. Mm-hmm. And it just started off really small. And now when I think about it, I'm surrounded by stock. But when it started, I just filled like a few drawers in a wardrobe.
So how did you start getting the word out about Modibodi? Because period-proof underwear, like you didn't know about it 3 years ago. You've had to really educate people about it. I remember when I started the personal shopping and styling business, 18 years ago, nobody knew what it was. And I spent the first 2 or 3 years educating malls and hotels that it wasn't just a case of, I don't just carry bags. There's more to it than that. So how did you educate people and how did you get the first clients?
Well, it was very much word of mouth. And I have to confess, like the first probably 3 or 4 customers were friends, which I am so, so, so grateful for that, that they supported me. And they were other expats who had heard of period-proof underwear and were interested to give it a go. A couple of them, it was very new, and they were really doing it just to support me, which was super, super kind. But yeah, I still remember like the first real customer that bought off the website and being super excited. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I've got to get bags from Dragon Mart. And oh my gosh, I don't have the courier yet. I'm going to have to go and deliver it.
And is that what you did? You went and delivered it yourself?
Yes, yeah. And she bought again a couple of years later. And I said, oh, I remember you. You were my first customer. And she said, yes, I remember you coming to deliver the Modibodi. I thought that was really lovely.
Oh, so nice. So word of mouth started really small. Yeah. How was the concept of period proof received in the Middle East? They're quite conservative, shall we say?
Yes. It has been really mixed. But I always remember all the positives. For me, when I think about it, I think of all the women who are so grateful who've sent messages saying, thank you for bringing this to the UAE. Oh my gosh, it's changed my life. I wish I'd found out about it years ago. So that's sort of like the majority. That's the communication that I'm getting now. But I mean, it started off small. Facebook was amazing. There are some really big Facebook groups here. So Real Mums of UAE. I ran a little competition with them. I had sent the admin a couple of pairs to try, and then a month later we had the competition. That was fantastic for creating brand awareness. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of influencers. I was really lucky. Helen Farmer, the Mothership. It was really good timing. I had emailed her asking if she'd be interested to give Modibodi a try, and she said she'd been looking for something like this. And I'll never again forget when she posted, and all of a sudden, like all these new followers started appearing on Instagram, and all these orders started coming in. It was amazing. And it's really just once people give it a go, that's when they come back and say, oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to buy more. I've told all my friends. So that's really how word is spreading.
So maybe for those that are maybe not sure about what period-proof underwear is, maybe you can explain what it is and, how it actually works in terms of what you would do is if I was buying a pair with you.
Sure. So Modibodi is period-proof underwear. It's underwear you wear when you have your period and you don't need to wear pads or tampons. Mm-hmm. So it's a complete replacement. And it's also fantastic for like bladder leaks, the mild incontinence, discharge. But I would say most women here are wearing it for periods. So it looks and feels just like regular underwear, though I think it looks and feels a lot nicer. And it has a thin padded gusset. So it has 3 layers of material, but it's only 3 millimeters thick. And like the top layer, it's merino wool, except for our vegan range, which uses a different fabric. So that top layer wicks away moisture, so you stay feeling dry, fights bacteria, stops any smell. The middle layer is what absorbs everything that it needs to absorb. And the bottom layer is extra waterproofing. And that's it. So it's those 3 layers that do the job. And washing is really easy. After wearing, you just rinse in cold water till the water runs clear. And then just pop in your next machine delicate wash. Don't use fabric softener, don't dry in the dryer, and they'll last a couple of years.
Awesome. And you're so spot on about the fabric. It is really nice, really, really lovely. And I have a few pairs of the black ones because you do different flows. So you've got like light, medium, and heavy, or is it just 2?
Well, no, there's now 5 absorbencies. So we've got everything from super light, which is the thong, just given that there's not much material there. That's a super light. And we now go all the way up to Maxi 24, and that holds 50 mil, 50, which is the equivalent of 10 regular pads. So you can wear this one pair of underwear for as long as you would wear 10 regular pads. Most don't need that heavy, like absorbency, but women wear it for postpartum. There are some women who have a really heavy flow. These are the women that perhaps don't leave the house when they have their period. Or they're changing those big, heavy, bulky pads every couple of hours. They're the ones that the Maxi is for. Or you'll also get a lot of teenage girls wearing it, and I think that's just for peace of mind. They know that they can go to school. They might have sports or, a friend seeing friends after school. They can be out of the house for 12 hours, and they know that one pair is going to get them through. Yeah.
I must try the super light one. So since having the Marina coil, post the endometriosis surgery, they'd said using the coil, because I'll come back to that because I've used the pads for a while. I've used your pants for a while, and then I had the coil last year, after the surgery, and like I hardly have anything now. Like it's tiny. So I need like just 1 day or 2 days, a super light one. So I'll order that one then. So you kindly gifted me a pair when we first started working together. I think 2 years ago or something now.
Yes,
2 years ago, just before COVID, and I was like, can't wait to try them. Tried them, and I remember saying to you, you know, you don't expect a picture on social media, and you were like, no, I just want you to try them, and I was so impressed by them. I actually did a picture in my pants and put it on social media because it was so true. They were so good. And I remember I called you up and I'd said, you know, I've been trying them for 3 or 4 months. And I said, I don't know what it is, but my period pain is much light. Like it's not as bad. And is this because of the pants or what? And then you had said it's not something you can advertise.
No, because I mean that is feedback that we do get, but it's not something we would ever say is definitely going to happen, because we don't want women to try Modibodi thinking that, you know, perhaps period pain is going to go. I think it really depends what's driving the period pain, and there can be so many different reasons for that.
Yeah.
And also, you know, depending on what you've been using, if it's pads, if it's tampons. But yes, we certainly get a lot of feedback that their cycle changes, whether it's less cramps, whether it's a shorter cycle, whether it's lighter. It's really interesting. Yes. Even just, I was in the market this morning and a lady came up to me and said that her period pain has stopped. She said she still gets the headaches, but she doesn't get the cramps anymore.
That's incredible. And, you know, and all of these are all great, but the other bigger factor is it's good for the environment.
Yes. It's a real game changer.
On that?
Well, yes. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, so up until now, like we have to use something. And so for most, it's always been, well, your choice is pads or tampons. So even if you're super environmentally friendly and sustainable in lots of other areas, you know, sanitary products was something that people really didn't, you know, make much of a difference of. There are some that use the cup, and if the cup works for you, they say it's amazing, they love it. But if you're not using the cup, then pads take more than 500 years to decompose.
Really?
Every pad you throw out. I know. And when you think about that in terms of generations, like the pads that we've been using, like they're going to far outlive our great grandchildren, which is really sad. And we use, on average, each of us would use like between 11,000 and 16,000 in our lifetime. So all of those are sitting in landfill. Whilst they feel like a kind of plasticky cotton, then up to 96% is plastic. And so the plastic that we would use and dispose of in our pads far outweighs like all the plastic bags that you would use when you go grocery shopping every week.
And do you think, you know, people that are buying them from you now, do you think people are buying them because it's more sustainable, or just because they've heard about them? And, you know, do you think sustainability is a driving force now, or?
It's one of the factors, because we run surveys twice a year, and one of the questions we ask is, why do you buy Modibodi? It's often one of the top two. So better for the environment, because also something else that a lot don't know is pads and tampons aren't naturally white; they're bleached white.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
I really learned that from you, actually.
Yes, yeah. So because marketers thought that women associate white with being hygienic. So like full of chemicals, full of plastic. So the environment is one of them, but for a lot, it's either like the comfort and the convenience. Particularly, I think here in the region, because a lot before buying Modibodi, there were a lot of women that were still buying their pads in the US, in England, in Australia, because even if you're buying the same brand here, they're often made in a different country and they're different.
Totally. So to be honest, they cost so much more here. I remember, like, it was never something I'd really had bought, but one of the things I had bought, which is why I want to try your lighter one, was panty liners, because that's kind of like all I need for 1 or 2 days. So if your super light flow fits the bill, amazing. And remember though, I bought them in the UK and they were £1, and I bought them here, exactly the same thing, they were £3.
Wow, 3 times. Yeah. And there are so many women here that wear panty liners every day just because they want that feeling of freshness, or because it's so hot here.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. So, buying a pair of Modibodi, like the prices range from 99 dirhams to 149, just depending on the style and the absorbency. So whilst it's that investment up front, even if you buy 6 or 7 pairs, even if you replace them every 2 to 3 years, you're still ahead compared to buying pads and tampons every month. It's just that the expense is up front rather than every month.
Massively.
But better for us, better for the environment, and better for your bank account.
So how many pairs of pants are you selling a month now?
Oh gosh, every month is different.
Oh, okay.
Every month is different, but we did have our best month ever in September. When we have our little birthday, we have a little birthday sale. So September was a fantastic month. Year on year, we've grown 200%.
That's incredible.
Yeah, happy with that. And we've now got more than 5,000 customers. So more than 5,000 ladies in the UAE, Saudi, Bahrain, and Jordan and Oman have made the switch to Modibodi.
And you say ladies, but it's actually, there's a lot of teenagers that are the mums are the clientele versus the teenagers.
That's right. Because a lot of those ladies, they're perhaps buying just for themselves. They're buying for themselves and their daughters or their daughters. Because a lot of the mums that are coming, it's like, oh, we don't need this anymore. Like they've hit menopause. But yeah, I mean, and for teenage girls, it really helps them in so many different ways. I mean, they've got enough, I think, to be worrying about at the moment. And having a period like their period arriving at school unexpectedly is like a huge source of anxiety for a lot of girls.
Yeah.
So with Modibodi, they don't need to worry about that anymore. They just wear one of the light to moderate pairs as an everyday underwear, and they're never going to have that spotting, that leaking, having to go to the nurse, having to go to the bathroom, having to go get changed. And it's not something that's playing on their mind, which I think is wonderful.
Yeah. And you do swimsuits as well, is that right?
Yes. Yeah, which is really popular here.
Yeah.
For a couple of reasons. One, a lot of girls swim all year round. Girls and women swim all year round. And also a lot won't wear tampons here.
Yeah.
For cultural reasons.
Culturally they won't, yeah.
Yes. And so for them, like if they've got their period, then usually they were just missing out on swimming. And I've heard of some girls that perhaps could have, competed like at a country level, and they just stopped because they couldn't keep missing like a week of squad training every month.
Every month. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yes.
I love that story you told in the masterclass that, you had the phone call about the lady who was the daughter. Was they're not going on a staycation?
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times. It's happened a couple of times now. And we've had like 2 from the UK, a couple from Abu Dhabi. So yeah, sometimes we'll get a call from someone who's visiting Dubai. They're at a hotel and, their daughter has just got their period and they want to swim, and, they have to get a pair of these swimmers straight away. And that we can do. We have the courier that will do the same day delivery, but the swimmers, like the underwear, need to be washed and dried before wearing for the first time. It just helps activate the absorbency. And so knowing that it's going to be difficult to wash and dry a pair of swimmers in a hotel room quickly, we will often, we give the swimmers quick hand wash, put them out in the sun to dry. Then the courier comes or they send a taxi. And then so the swimmers arrive at the hotel and they put them straight on and then they go swimming.
Oh, so that is service. I love that.
But what's really nice, they'll say, oh, thank you saved the holiday. So that's really lovely. I mean, it's such a small thing, but I imagine for a girl who's on holiday or wants to have a pool party with her friends, it really does mean a lot to them.
Absolutely. And as a mum of 2 girls, eventually you'll be on the receiving end of that.
Yeah.
Time. What's been one of the biggest misconceptions in this sort of business that you've got, whether it's business related in your experience or the product or anything misconception wise that you want to share?
Misconception wise, it would be more on a personal level, I guess. And it would be, I think a lot of people that know me, not through Modibodi, but just through friends and school and things, it's that I don't have a job. That this is perhaps just something small that I do on the side, when I feel like it. And for me, that was a bit hard because I thought, I work really, really hard and spend a lot of time.
You have a support network. You've got an employee.
Yes, yeah.
Really interesting.
But that's okay. As far as the underwear goes, I think it's still just that whole education piece. There are some who've just never heard of it. There are some that seem to be quite put off by the thought of it. But I think that says more about, I think that's a bigger piece, not so much about the underwear, but about how they actually feel about periods, and that, some it sounds like they just wish they never ever had a period, or that they're just so disgusted by it that it's a real inconvenience, which I think is a shame, because I don't know, it's part of the circle of life. You're without periods, you're not going to have children, and it can tell so much about you. And, I'm getting near the end now, like where it's coming up to menopause, and that will be a huge part of my life that's finished, which is, so yeah, but that would be really the only things. Then there's things like, that, women, they think, well, why can't I wear the underwear in the water? It's like, no, please don't wear the underwear in the water. So just about sort of how you would use it and how long you can wear it for. And yes, you do need to wash them after you've worn them. It's not just a quick rinse. But that's, I think, they're the big things. So for me, sort of on a personal level, that yes, I do sort of run a business, and just sort of education around the product.
You're always there for the kids in the pickup. So I guess they always see you there. And that was what you set out to do in the beginning. You wanted a job that allowed you to still have the time with the kids as they're growing up and pick them up. And you've been able to do that, but also show the kids that, the kids know you're working. I guess they know about the product, and I take it
at 9 and 7. Yeah.
And periods is a very normal conversation around your house, I take it.
Very normal. They know all about different types of flows and the average age that you start and all the different absorbencies. And oh my gosh, yeah. And my husband as well, which I think is good. Given he has 2 girls, I think it's wonderful that he also knows everything there is to know.
So has it just become more normalized because of what you're doing? Or were you always quite open about it?
All right. Children are always curious. And I remember them saying, before Modibodi, it's like, why are you wearing a nappy? When they would see the pads.
The innocence of it, because that's to them what it would look like.
Yes, yeah. And it's actually something that's that's where, like, I've had mums call saying, oh my gosh, my daughter's just started her period. She refuses to go to school tomorrow because she's not going to wear a pad because she says they look like a nappy. Can we please get some underwear? Or you've then also got the special needs girls. Mm-hmm. So for them, it's very different. And it's one of the things I love that Modibodi has really made a difference for them and their families, because for a lot of those girls, a lot of them won't actually be fully toilet trained until maybe they're 7, 8, 9 years old. So they feel like they've only really just sort of come out of nappies. And then when their period starts a couple of years later, it may or may not be like their parents or their carers changing the products. Mm-hmm. Some that have sensory issues just refuse to wear pads. So they'll take them off and go and stick them on furniture and things. So for them and their families, they've really been housebound during times when the girls have had their period.
You don't think about it. That wouldn't. Now you've said that, it seems so obvious that unless you're in that environment, you just wouldn't think about it. So you really are the life-changing pants.
Yes, they are. And I always wanted to help people. That was sort of I never knew what I wanted to do for a career as I was growing up, but it was always in the back of my mind, I wanted to help people. And I guess I thought, do I become a psychologist? Do I become a counsellor? But, it's turned out that I help people just in a really different way to what I would have ever imagined.
Well, you definitely helped me during that time where I just wished I had found them years ago, because my 30s to my 40s, it was, it was a really tough time. And until they really diagnosed the endometriosis, I was just like, why have I got really bad period pains? And or really heavy or whatever. So, I am, totally life-changing. I bought them for my family and they're now on it. And my mum says she never travels without them now.
Oh, no, do I. You only ever make that mistake once. You only travel without them once and then you really need them and, never again.
And she's at the other end, but she just says, you know what, I just feel more comfortable wearing them just in case and, what have you. And I'm sure she won't mind me telling people that on the podcast. But I remember need to normalise, do you know what I mean? That it is that these kind of things happen as you get older or whatever, so.
I mean, the idea for Modibodi actually came about when Christy had light bladder leaks. So she'd had 2 children, wanted to start running again to get fit, and decided that she wasn't going to wear pads and panty liners for the next umpteen years until her pelvic floor strengthened again. So that's actually where the idea for Modibodi came about. Very early on, she then changed it so that it would be for periods, and that's what it's known as. But loads of ladies, and the stats are really quite frightening. I think it's 1 in 3 women will have light bladder leaks, mild incontinence. But there's about 60% of those that won't seek treatment. Because I think everyone, yes, yeah.
That's it. It's a big number. And I know. It isn't talked about.
Never. And I think women just hope that it's going to go away. That it's just that you're not going to sort of wet yourself every time you sneeze or cough or do star jumps or run. But it will get worse as you get closer to menopause, as your hormone levels change. And it's really something that we do need to work at. And there are some amazing women's physios here, that just specialize in pelvic floor.
Oh, wow.
They can, they'll do little examinations, tell you how good or bad it is, and then give you the exercises that you need to do. And it's not even just pelvic floor exercise. It's certain exercises in the gym and doing weights and things that are all different ways that you can strengthen your pelvic floor.
I didn't know,
but it's something that we need to do.
I didn't know that there was actually people that were specialising. I learned something new on this. I'll have to find out who it is. Not that I've had the kids and stuff from that perspective, but it's just always good to know and be aware. What's the plans next for Modibodi 2022? I know we've been talking about goals and stuff in some of our sessions. What's happening?
So I am, coming to the end of 2021. I've worked really hard. I set what were really big goals at the beginning of this year, and it looks like it's all coming together. So I am going to I do want to take a little bit of time out, because I think that's the thing with running your own business. It can be very all-consuming. It can be very much a 7-day-a-week job. So I am going to take a little bit of time out and then really look to what I want to do in 2022, but focusing on Saudi. So we do send to Saudi, Bahrain, Jordan and Oman. But, when I took those countries on, it was pre-COVID. So I had these big plans of traveling and really, growing the brand, building back brand awareness in those countries, having visited there, but that hasn't happened. But hopefully in 2022, I can go and visit these countries, reach out to some key people in those areas. And, because, I'd love for all the women in Saudi and all those other countries to also have access to Modibodi.
Yeah, awesome. So how can people find you or Modibodi here in the Middle East? Can you share your details?
Sure. So it's just Modibodi, and it's Modibodi. So modibodi.ae. So everything you'll find on the website. For the UAE, same-day delivery, if you like. Otherwise, same or next-day delivery. And those other countries we send by DHL. I am at markets. You'll find us on Instagram at Modibodi_Middle East, and then you'll see all the
You're quite active on Instagram as well. And I know you talk back to a lot of your clients, if they ask a question on it, you come back to them on that as well.
Yes. Yeah. Instagram's been a great way just, for lots of ladies to come across the brand. And, ladies that will often come up and see us at the market stand I follow you on Instagram, or I saw, Charlotte Parker post about you, or Charlie Ruby Baxter. It's really wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, good stuff. Well, I'm so happy. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you, but seeing your business grow, you smash your goals. And I guess I would say saving the planet one pair of pants at a time. Yes.
Change your underwear, change the world. But thank you.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, one of the best parts for me about running the business has been all the amazing women that I've got to meet in the last 3 years here in Dubai that I would never, ever have met if it wasn't for Modibodi. And you're one of those. So thank you. You've been really inspiring, really helpful, and so amazing. So you're one of the people I think of when I think of why I love Modibodi so much.
Oh, thank you so much. And just for those listening, I have not paid Natalie to say that. That's totally genuine. Thank you so much. Well, I'm wishing you the best of success for 2022. and overtaking Saudi and educating them there and just growing the empire here. I look forward to hearing everything. Thanks so much, Natalie.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much for being here and listening to this episode today. I'd love to know what inspired you the most. Was there something that was said? Was there a real takeaway that you're like, do you know what? I'm actually going to go away and implement this. Then if there is, head over to Instagram because I hang out there and I really want to hear what it is you say. Come and leave me a DM. Tell me the best part, or even better, share it with a friend and inspire them too. We are growing weekly and it's all down to you. Thank you so much in advance. Reviewer of the week actually left this message and it made me so happy. Awesome podcast. Every episode gives me an insight into how I can grow my business brand and manage my life around this. Can't wait for the next episode. That was from DKUB2387. So they mean so much. If you haven't left a review yet, then please do head on over to Apple Podcasts, rate and review. And don't forget, be inspired and keep following your dreams. Until next time, bye for now.